Good evening, Packer fans. A wonderful opening weekend for two simple reasons. First and foremost, Packers won. Phenomenal. It's always nice, especially when they win against a divisional opponent like the Bears. That's great. And the Vikings lost. So Packers sitting atop the NFC North, just like we knew they would be after 1 week. It is 1-0, but as our buddy Jason Perone here in the chat stated earlier this evening, the Lions win being against an AFC team technically puts us ahead of them. So that's phenomenal. Yes, Jason, I am sorry. I am not Ummer. I am not nearly that good looking. He's working on jumping on. I was watching the game somewhere else and is jumping on as soon as he can. So trust me, as soon as he's here, we will get that beautiful human being on here. In the meantime, I'm joined with Danny, who you've been on camera all day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Starting with kickoff, doing the watch party with Jason. I downloaded the app. I don't even know what it was called. I just clicked the links that you guys had up there. Tell us where that was hosted at and where people can find you guys over there.
So you download the app on your phone, and it's the PSF Pro Sports Fan app. It's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Once you get on there, you just you go into the search and just search Packers fans or Packers, and it'll take you to the chat.
Yeah. I found it pretty quick. Jimmy found it, which
if Jimmy found it, you all can find it.
Yeah, no excuse why nobody else can find it. Let's jump into it. So it was tough doing the watch party because I was ahead of you guys. As Jason said, I could have paused, wasn't willing to do that.
I loved it.
Yeah. So I was trying not to give too much away with just letting you know I was screaming about something. What were a couple of the biggest moments of the game for you?
I think, and I tweeted it out, I just noticed how poised and relaxed, and even when Jordan's under pressure, just how calm he is. And I think that was my biggest takeaway. I feel like I can't remember exactly what happened because we were doing the watch party, and it was really hard to pay attention to the game and talk, like you said a couple minutes ago, and being in the chat at the same time. I don't know if Jordan almost got sacked or what happened, but I mean, they got a touchdown out of it a minute later. And I just feel like maybe Aaron would have gotten rattled in that situation, or a lot of quarterbacks would have been rattled in that situation, but he stayed poised and calm, and they got a touchdown. And I think that was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments in this game that felt like the Packers definitely of last year and even Rodgers over the past few seasons where they would kind of get up against it. Things wouldn't be going their way. And it was just like the offense would hit the brakes. The defense would forget how to do everything. And we felt that moment a couple of times. There were back-to-back drives. I think that the Bears had field goals, looked like they had something going. The Packers just stopped tackling in general for a while. The offense was kind of sputtering. And Jordan Love stayed very poised and kept moving the team down the field. I think a lot of that had to do with the emergence of Aaron Jones in the second half. I said on Lombardi's Bar this week, like, I don't think this season is going to be – I picked him to be the team MVP. Aaron Jones, for the simple fact that this offense is going to need to run through him in order to be successful. And I said we're not going to have we shouldn't have any games this year that we come out at halftime going, wow, Jones only had 5 touches. And he didn't have many more than that in the first half, which you guys were talking about during the live. Mm-hmm. That second half came out, and it just proved my point that if this offense is going to be efficient, especially when Watson's not in there, you need that home run hitter, and that's Aaron Jones. Whether he's running the ball, whether they're getting him involved in the passing game, the screen game, that's where it's at. And that throw that he made, that was the most difficult and off-balance screen pass I've ever seen.
Aaron Jones?
Yeah, that he was just falling away off balance from the other side of the field. And I intentionally didn't put anything in the chat on that one because I wanted to see you guys' reaction. And Jason did exactly what I did, which was, what are you doing? Wait, he caught it. Oh my God, he's running. Like the wave of emotions that hit during that specific play was all over the place, which I thought was it was fun to like feel that hope again. It would have been nice to see that when they were up a couple of scores, because at that point I think we were all still a little bit tense. But I never felt like the Bears, and it might just be because I'm a firm believer in that they're the same old Bears. Same way, sure, the Lions looked good the other night. The Lions looked decent last year. Until they really prove something to me, they're the same old Lions. And that's completely ignoring the fact that I think they beat the Packers like the last 4 or 5 times. Something like we're going to ignore that for now. They're still the same old Lions. But
it's just getting real irritating having to say every game, I swear to God, where's Aaron Jones? Why are they not running him? Like, it's just, why do we have to keep saying this? And then finally they find him again, and lo and behold, the game changes every single time. So it's just getting real irritating.
Yeah. So
what was on where he's at?
What was on your bingo card of things you wanted to see today that you didn't see?
Rashawn Gary getting his first sack back. I wanted to see that so badly.
And he had one momentarily.
Yeah, for a second. But now that I think about it, and I was saying it on our live as well, I think I would rather see that happen when they're at home for the home opener, because the whole place would erupt, and I think that's just a better.
I might pee my pants. I will be there. Yeah. I might pee my pants watching that. I thought that was great. One thing that really stood out to me was the defense. Yeah, tackling was kind of bad. It felt like when it was bad, it was really bad in spurts, but then they'd kind of get it together for a while. The pressure was there. They were in Justin Fields' face all day, which for any quarterback in the league not named Justin Fields, they would have had a dozen sacks today. I mean, it was insane that they were able to get back there. And I know the Bears line isn't that good, but still to have that pressure to try and just get guys back there constantly.
They just couldn't stop him from running. If he wasn't a mobile quarterback, he would have been down.
That's what I mean. Yeah. If that was Kirk Cousins, that was a dozen sacks today. Mm-hmm. I don't know that there was anything that could really be done about that. The safeties didn't get exposed like we thought they would, which was nice. I was worried about that. I think everybody is. That's obviously the low spot on the defense here for us. Seeing Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt showing up, like just some of that depth up front, those guys besides Kenny Clark having their name called was great. I finally remembered, like Devontae Wyatt finally made enough plays today that I remembered who 95 is. Because last year it was like once a game, once every other game, he would flash and he'd be like, oh, who's that 95? And then I'd be like, oh, that's Devontae Wyatt. And then I would forget about it for 2 weeks. And they would do something else and be like, oh, who's that guy? So today, like I might actually remember who 95 is the rest of the way, which is no disrespect to him. I just have an awful memory. And you have to continue to just put yourself out there for me to remember that. True North, you're bringing up something here in the chat. We will get to that. I'm trying really hard to focus on the positives at the moment because I don't want to have us going into a downward spiral off of a win when Amar gets in here, because I have a feeling he's going to be pretty amped up. So I want to keep the positivity here. But I'm with you on where you're at there.
Who was it? What did they say? I can't read it on my phone.
Josh Myers looked awful.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I tweeted out he's still observing social distancing. Like he just refused to block people, especially in the run game. I thought you had an intruder, but it's just a cat. Never mind. He might have been the one, like the biggest negative of the day is probably him. I know we were talking about AJ Dillon. You were all over Patrick Taylor. You finally got some Patrick Taylor there.
I just felt like he couldn't do any worse than what Dillon was doing, so why not see what he can do?
And Dillon did towards the end kind of come around, but I feel like the Bears defense, like it's never, sure, it still might be their starters in there, but that's never a time that you can just be like, oh, well, he's racking it up now. Like, their defense was done. They didn't care anymore. Was great to see Reed get back out there and recover an onside kick.
God.
That looked real bad.
Yeah, I wanted to cry. I'm just so high on him. I think he's just going to be a huge contributor. So
yeah, and
when I saw that, I just wanted.
Assuming him and Jones were just cramps, that's awesome. And then as long as Quay left with a head injury, he did take a hell of a hit at the goal line there. It looked to me like he was just looking for somebody to truck stick on that. Like he got it and just ran to the middle of the field, lowered his shoulder into dude, and then was like, "Oh, I'm still up. I'm gonna go try to score quick." Like
maybe he feels like he owes the team one from his antics.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I mean, I think he feels like he owes the team a lot of ones, which is I'm not going to complain about. I think he's going to be a really good player. True North again, just bringing the heat in the chat here. Can't miss Carlson. Lights out today.
Yeah, that was impressive.
He did have a couple point afters that looked like they were just going to go straight to the corner of the end zone that somehow just hooked themselves right back. I don't care how it gets through the uprights, just get it through the uprights. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be normal. Just get it through the uprights and we're happy. So Amar says 5 to 7 minutes. So we've got somebody start a timer in 5 minutes. Remind me that we've got to be upbeat and talking about positive stuff. Because I do want to go into Josh Myers a little bit. Not only were there plays early in the game where he was out in front to make the blocks and just didn't. And whether there was one where Jones kind of cut it up, and if he would have bounced outside behind Myers' block, would have been better. And not knowing the scheme, maybe that is the way to go. But typically you're telling guys to block the most inside person. And Myers wasn't doing that in the secondary. And so it's things like that where it's like, who do you lean on at that point? And based on the number of missed blocks Myers made the rest of the game, I gotta assume that he was the one that was responsible for missing that and not Jones missing the assignment there to go outside. But
probably a pretty safe assumption.
Aside from him, I mean, I thought the line play looked great. There were a few times that they got blown up. You're going to have that in any game, regardless. For the most part, I think that line for Jordan Love, I mean, it gave him a nice, clean pocket all game. I don't remember. Did he get sacked? I think he got sacked once.
Yeah, I think it was just one time.
Which is
one time, almost two, maybe.
Yeah, which is great. Like that line, the way they played today, I'm going to say it. Tyler Herrick, 5-yard slant. Absolutely. Could have done it. Which, again, that's way down from the bar he set for himself. Like, he could have done it today.
Yeah. Definitely.
For sure. Player of the game. Who do you have for player of the game?
I'm going to go with Jordan Love, I think. Between Jordan and Aaron Jones, but Aaron's been there before. He's done the song and dance. Jordan, this is his first real start, and I just think he did phenomenal. So for being his first start against the Bears, it was a huge game. So I'll go with Jordan.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Against the Bears on the road, like going into that place where their fans, give them credit. As many times as they watch the same old Bears come out there, they always think it's a new team with new hope. Like I know a lot of Browns fans, and even when there are high hopes for them, most of them are like, no, not really. We're going to be bad. We're the same old Browns. And like the Bears every year, like it's our year. We're back. And the Packers are going to be terrible. And there it is. So like that wasn't a friendly atmosphere for Jordan Love to walk into. First start as QB1 and played very impressively. Had that poise throughout. Just absolutely, I a great game for him. I don't know that you can really ask for much more. 245 and 3 touchdowns out of him. I don't know that anybody would have said no to that ahead of time. So we'll take that. No. Justin Fields in comparison.
I would have been good with the game being 7-6 as long as he walked out of there with a win. But
right.
I think that game exceeded expectations a little bit.
Here's the thing. If that's the Jordan Love that we're going to get, I mean, granted, it was a 123 rating, so that's pretty decent. But, I mean, 245, and even if you said 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns and a pick, like, you're going to take that. That's phenomenal every day. So for what we need him to do in this offense.
I mean, if he can do that, and if the defense can get it together and maybe start tackling and stopping people from running all over them, I think that if this is how he's going to play and this is the Jordan Love we're going to get, I think it's good enough as long as the defense kind of helps him out a little bit.
Yeah. Your boy Patrick Taylor was the second leading rusher on this team today.
Of course he was.
5 carries, 22 yards. Jones did have 9 carries for 41 and a touchdown. A.J. Dillon, 13 carries for 19 yards. Like, I don't know. Very, very pedestrian. I would love to see A.J. Dillon come back next season.
I think he will.
If he's the Dillon we want him to be, but we haven't really seen that out of him aside from.
Oh no, I don't think he'll be back next season. But I think he'll pick it up a little bit. I think he's going to be better going forward than he was today.
I don't know that we pinned the first game on him.
Yeah, I don't see him coming back next season, but I love him and I hope he does well and he does come back. But
do you think
he plays like he did today? I don't think so.
Do you think they find a way to get Jonathan Taylor in the backfield next year? You don't have to answer that. That's a tough spot.
Maybe if A.J. Dillon sucks.
Right. Aaron Jones was also the leading receiver today. 2 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown. Musgrave, 3 catches for 50 yards. That there were a couple of plays, and I think here's if you want to nitpick on Jordan Love, accuracy, which we've known.
Right.
That one to Luke Musgrave, wide open. If you can find a way to put that on him so that he doesn't have to come to a complete stop to catch it and then try to get going again, that's a touchdown right there. And then the one to Jaden Reed early in the game, I don't know that it would have been a touchdown. I think it was Reed's first catch. It was thrown behind him. He had to kind of come back for it. If you can lead him on that, hit him in stride so he can hit that sideline and go. When we saw him hit the sideline on a punt return, he had another catch that he was able to get some yards after the catch on. If you can hit that guy in stride consistently, he's going to create opportunities for you. And then Romeo Doubs quietly had 4 catches, 26 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had the first touchdown early, and then he kind of was quiet for a while. Mm-hmm. It was just letting other guys kind of do it, and then was like, oh, yeah, no, let him grab another touchdown quick. Like, he's still out there. So,
I think that if Jordan could just get his accuracy down, I think he's already a good quarterback. I think he'd be really good once he gets that situated. He's a good decision maker. He's relaxed, doesn't get rattled. So I think the timing maybe a little bit of the accuracy, and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, it was nice to see the team. And again, going back to that little stretch where Love kept his poise when it felt like things were starting to slip a little bit. I would say that was a time when the team was getting punched in the mouth and actually didn't, like they've been said to do in the past, just go out to the deep end and drown themselves.
Completely fold.
Right. So I think that was a great series right there. Let me pull it up again here. They had it.
I mean, it's a young team and they've got a lot of things that they got to prove and a lot of fire.
I think there were a lot of mistakes today, a lot of dumb penalties. You know, Jason mentioned it. That one on that Rudy Ford had was just awful. You can't do stuff like that. And like he said, it's a point against LaFleur that like you've got to make sure your team knows that's not acceptable. You can't do stuff like that. And just because, I mean, Rudy did get leveled on that play and still made the tackle. But, I mean, at some point, your pride, everybody's a competitor out there. Nobody wants to get hit like that. And so I understand it, but, it's true. You can't let the moment take over like that. And that's where this team needs to be tougher. But it was nice to see some fight. I mean, when they went after Ja for a completely legal, it wasn't even a hit. I mean, he made contact with Fields early in the game along the sideline, but like he didn't knock him down. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't dirty. It was shoulder to shoulder. And their team took offense to it. You have a running quarterback. He's going to get hit.
Mhm.
Well, that's going to happen. And to see the way that our team rallied around me, TJ Slayton, that might be the fastest I've ever seen that big man move. I mean, he was over there in a heartbeat to make sure that Ja was cool and was trying to get Ja out. And then all of a sudden just turned around and was like, okay, let's do this. I thought it was weird. And they mentioned it on the broadcast. They were kind of confused too, that there wasn't a flag thrown until DJ Moore pushed Ja after everything was done. And then they called the penalty on Slayton and number 10 from Chicago. So, like, when did that happen? Where did those flags come from?
Yeah, it was so hard to pay attention to everything going on when I was doing the watch party and watching the game. That whole entire situation happened so quickly for me. I couldn't even process it. What had just happened. I didn't see who hit who or who did what or any of it.
Yeah.
I was just nervous that Ja was about to get ejected. That's all I cared about.
Early in the game. There he is.
What's up?
I promised the people he would be here.
How are you guys doing? So
Good,
sorry for being late.
No, you're good. You're good.
So it's let's just say it was a little bit of a hike to get back here. So, but it's only because I'm sorry.
Where are you?
So I'm in Pittsburgh, and we had family that came in from California, like Sacramento, Bay Area, and they're all diehard Steelers fans and Niners fans. And so they came in for the weekend. So we drove up from Northern Virginia, me, my brother-in-law, and my cousins. And so we just had an amazing time. And so it's been crazy. And we were at a bar, and they had a Packers game on. I was the only one watching it. And then a Bears fan came up later, and he was so nice. So I really couldn't really talk trash to him. But man,
No, you can.
No, he was cool. He was cool though. Like, he wasn't like these trolls that we deal with on on Twitter. Like, he was really nice actually. So I was like, I felt bad. I actually bought him a couple of drinks. I was like, dude, man, this sucks for you guys, but it's amazing for me, so I'm not complaining. And yeah, this is awesome. So Todd's great seeing you again. Danny, it's finally amazing to kind of meet you for the first time. And so I apologize. I've had a couple of victory celebration drinks, so yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good right now.
No worries. That's what this recap is about. I mean, if it's I'm with Joe on this one right here. No, sir. I will say this, and it doesn't matter how nice they are. My stepdad, one of the nicest humans in the world, completely selfless man, a great human being through and through. He's a Bears fan. I'm not nice to him about this. This rivalry is completely separate from everything else that happens in our world. So no, I haven't texted him yet. I'll probably wait till a little bit closer before he's fallen asleep, and then I'll start just to really, really rub it in. But that was kind of you to let the one Bears fan, probably wasn't even a Bears fan. It was probably just somebody that was sitting there that was like, hey, let me get that Bears shirt quick. I bet that dude over there will feel bad for me and buy me a couple of drinks.
It's funny. He said that too. He goes, oh, this guy looks like he's pretty chill. And I was like screaming. I mean, I'm like literally at a bar here in Pittsburgh called Cinderlands, right? It's kind of quiet. So I'm the only one that's acting like a fool, basically. And I was surprised that she came and sat down next to me. And he even said, he's, oh, you look like you're a good time. I was like, oh, man, I'm enjoying my team, whooping y'all's team's butt right now. So I'm not complaining one bit. Good touch and go, though. In the first quarter, I was thinking, like, man, like, all right, I need a 2-score lead. And, yeah, I have to admit, I know Corey Banke is probably he's probably like loving it right now that I have to give Joe Barry his flowers, and I really don't want to. And defense looked decent, and I'm mad about it right now because I want him to not look good, and I can't be mad because we won, so it's all good.
Look, if I have to get off the Fire Barry train for a season because the defense is playing like they should,
Yep.
then I'm okay with it. Then if Joe Barry can be a legitimate defensive coordinator and use the pieces that are there and put together a game plan that looked like this game plan today, maybe sprinkle in a bit more tackling here and there. Okay, cool. I'm fine with Joe Barry having a job on this team. But
hey guys, I'm leaving.
Okay.
Oh,
Bears suck. Bears still suck.
yes.
Go Pack,
Absolutely.
go.
Yes.
That's it. All right.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us. Have a good
Nice
one.
meeting you, Danny.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, her and Jason Perone did the watch party today. So she's been running since kickoff.
Oh God, she's been just on it, right?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So I was like, when you need to go, just go. Just all good.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
What were we were talking about before you jumped on? What were some of the highlights of the game for you? A couple of moments in the game that you really thought stood out and showed some things of what this team's going to be down the road here.
The pass rush. That pass rush was absolutely amazing in the run game, and I'm very, very, very terrified of the Aaron Jones hamstring possible injury, right? But just those things, and even Jordan Love, even when things weren't, we've always been noticing with him in preseason, right, where he just, if things don't go right, you don't see the normal emotional reaction that you would back in the day with our previous quarterback, right? And so with him, things weren't always going right, and he still had the ability to just say, okay, you know what, you live for another day. Didn't let it get him too, he didn't get one way or another. You get in those times where I could look on his face where he was really annoyed, like that one deep shot to Samori Toure, right down the seam. He had just missed him by 3-4 yards. I could tell he's like, man, I wish I had that one. But no, honestly, just biggest thing was our run game looked really good. I feel AJ Dillon didn't really have. I love AJ, but I just felt like he didn't have the greatest game. Patrick Taylor looked good. Aaron Jones looked amazing, and yeah, the Romeo Doubs and Jordan Love connection. And we did all this without Christian Watson being out there.
Yeah, which I think was huge and is going to add a completely different wrinkle to this team. And for that wrinkle, a wrinkle feels understated because he is a home run threat every time he's on the field. Every single play, you've got a guy that can just take the top off the defense, and they have to respect that. And I think that's going to help out someone like AJ Dillon. I don't know. We were kind of down on him today, I feel like, across the board. I mean, he had 13 carries for 19 yards. It's hard to not be down. How does a guy that size not average more than 1.5 yards a carry?
Exactly.
And I know there were a couple that weren't really his fault where he got blown up in the backfield, but it reminded me of the way that Tunyon used to run, that if someone touched him, he was going down.
Yeah.
Right? And AJ Dillon's a guy that should be able to break tackles, and he's just not doing it. And that's hard to see. And then Patrick Taylor got in there and was like, no, this isn't just Aaron Jones being able to dance around guys. You can make guys fall off of you. So it was weird to see AJ Dillon not being able to do that. It looked very pedestrian from that standpoint. Taylor actually outgained him on 5 carries. He had 8 fewer carries and outgained him by 3 yards.
Jeez and Pete's.
Yeah. So
that's pretty wild right there.
Tough look for him. I don't know. The rest of it, though, it was nice to see the ball getting spread out. We mentioned Romeo Doubs had that touchdown early and then kind of forgot about him for a while. Everybody was, it was what's going on with Jones, get Musgrave the ball, Reed getting involved, and then it was, okay, here's Romeo Doubs again, which I thought was pretty nice. Player of the game, who stood out to you? Let's do one on offense and one on defense.
Okay. On offense, as much as I want to give it to Jordan Love because he did have a pretty good game, stat line wise, right? I still have to say Aaron Jones just because when he was out there, you could just feel the difference. He was just electric. The same Aaron Jones we always see. Honestly, he looked faster. Remember we caught that one screen for I don't know, 70, I don't know what it was, but he looks so fast. And normally, I always remember when you watch him, he's so elusive and but he never runs away from anybody for the most part. Actually, I should take that back. Kansas City game, he ran from everybody multiple times. But like, he looked good. And when he grabbed the back of his leg, I was terrified. But I have to admit, seeing what's my man's name? Seeing the trainer working with him, seeing Flea work with him and kind of stretching out his hamstring, I felt like it wasn't that bad. Because if it was really bad, they wouldn't have had him on the sideline trying to stretch him. I think he's cramped up a little bit, so I'm hoping to God it was. He's my player of the game on offense. On defense, I really want to give it to Quay Walker. Primarily because of everything that he's kind of gotten since last year's rookie year. We had a couple mishaps, young player made a couple mistakes, and he just was being really downed upon. And for him to make that pick six, that was a big deal, right? And it's in coverage too. It's not like, linebackers, really, really good linebackers, they're known for tackling, they're known for, tackles for loss, and they're known for coverage, right? And the way Quay did that was absolutely amazing. Those are my two.
Yeah, it's you can't go wrong with either of those. Danny had Jordan Love. She didn't do one for defense. I just to throw somebody else in the mix, I'm going to go with Romeo Doubs on this one. Going out there today as wide receiver one, quietly having, it was 4 catches for 26 yards, but having 2 touchdowns. The first one of the year, that last one that he had, really, I think that was where a lot of people took a deep breath, a sigh of relief, and just, okay, we're good here. So seeing him be able to, again, kind of disappear for a while in the game, but then come up big. Still, I'll throw game ball to Romeo for that one. And then on defense, just looking over the stats here, I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt. A sack and a half.
Good.
Sack and a half was in the backfield. Had just I was saying I'm finally going to remember who 95 is on this team, which is a good thing for my brain probably. The fact that we had more hits, or I'm sorry, we had more sacks than they had QB hits today. And this defense, if that's how they're going to play, they're going to put that kind of pressure on.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah. Before you jumped on, I said if that was Kirk Cousins, that there's a dozen sacks out there today.
Oh, easily. There were so many times where you always say offense. Those guys get paid too, right? I hate on.
They shouldn't. The Bears' offensive line should not get paid this.
No, they definitely shouldn't because they're garbage. Like Swiss cheese all day. But Justin Fields is a player. If he wasn't on the Bears, he was on any other team. I am his number one fan. But if he on the Bears, I would be his number 100 fan, right? But I have to admit, he's a very talented kid, and just to watch him to take multiple times we had him dead to rights, and he just was able to make a play to get out of it and just be so I called him slimy because I'm just being a hater. But the truth was he just was so elusive. I
like slimy better than slippery for him.
Exactly. You got to add a negative connotation, right?
Absolutely.
He'd make a 3rd and 15 into a first down. I'm thinking that's why he is who he is, right? And if Chicago doesn't decide to turn their back on him, if he continues to play, if they continue to lose and he plays his way, and they say, we're going to go a different route, I am hoping they do that because I don't want them to have a good quarterback. And on the same hand, too, though, if they don't, then I'm looking forward to seeing that battle between our team and their team.
Absolutely. Jason, good point here. Already looking ahead to next week because that's the kind of professional that he is. Bijan Robinson next week. Got to wrap up. I'm going to take that 2 ways. One, they need a tackle. They need to wrap him up and be better about that. The run defense didn't stand out to me today as being something that's going to be real effective. The other way I'm going to take this is we should wrap this up. Jason's got to throw together quick slants, get that out for everybody to listen to tomorrow so he can't keep watching us. But we're so good that he can't turn away. There's no way he can shut this off right now.
I'm so sorry for being late.
You're good, man. You're good. Man. So we'll go ahead. We'll end it here. Amar, give us one parting thought about the game and where you – Jason wants 2 more hours. I'm free if you are.
I went 2 more hours. What is that Vince Carter gif? I got one more in me. I feel like I got one more in me, But however long you guys want to go, I can go. I know I got to meet up with my family a little bit later here to go watch the Dallas game, but
Yeah.
because we're all obsessed with football. But no, I'm definitely willing to stay on a little longer if you guys want to stay on too. But
no, we're good.
okay, I was gonna say parting thoughts. You know what? I have to admit, you didn't know what you were going to get. I mean, you saw in the preseason, you saw the aspects of Jordan that we had not seen, right? You saw him being very even keel. You saw him making mistakes, but you also saw him not get consumed by those mistakes, right? And I feel like in a live action first game of the season, it was one of those things where, like, when we had Rodgers for all those years, we definitely felt like, all right, man, we kind of know what we're going to get with him until last year. It was very, very refreshing to see our team perform the way they did with a new quarterback. And it was one of those things where they got punched in the mouth a couple times, I feel like, and didn't back down. There were times where Jordan Love, not Jordan Love, but Justin Fields had his moments, and I felt like those are the kind of times where, like, our team would, like, kind of crumble a little bit, and they just didn't do that. Like, they just kept persevering, they kept fighting, and I cannot wait to see them against Atlanta. And Jason's right, like, Bijan looked nasty this week. I saw a couple highlights, and I'm just like, wow. There's a reason why he was a top 10 pick, and I felt like our run defense looked amazing today, and that's not what you've seen through Joe Barry defense. Third year's a charm because he's in our last 2 years, so maybe this is a third year's a charm kind of thing. And
yeah, you just gotta get him over that hump.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to next week. I can't wait for next week.
Absolutely, same here. My biggest takeaway is for all the shit that was talked about the Packers this season.
Yes.
Sean Clifford was in mop-up duty. Game 1, week 1, Sean Clifford on the field. Always great to get your backup quarterback some reps because you're beating the shit out of a divisional opponent. So shout out to the guys for that. Always good to see that happen there. Amar, the people can catch you over on Twitter, AMAR3455 right there. You can catch me at the Todd V. We will be here again next week. Amar and maybe myself, maybe we'll talk one of the other clowns around this place to jump. Maybe we'll pull Danny back in. Who knows? But we will catch you guys post-game. After next week's game, you can also catch me over on Lombardi's Bar on Wednesdays. No, you're in for me this week.
Oh, I am?
You've got Lombardi's Bar this week. I'm out.
I can't wait. That's awesome.
I will be on my way to Colorado to officiate the wedding of Wendy Hansen, everybody's favorite Twitter person, the sweetest in the world. So she's getting married next week. I'm heading out for that.
Congratulations to her. And respect to you for doing what you're doing. That's awesome. That's
I'm a humble man. I can only do so much, and I guess that's everything. So now we'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack. Let's do it.